What's up guys, in this video we are going to be discussing whether Paddy the Baddy Pimblett can become a UFC champion. Now obviously no one knows what the future holds, but like all the other content that I put out on this channel, we try to make the best decision possible with the information we've got available. So in this video we're going to be looking at various different aspects of what's happened in Paddy's career up until this point to try and work out how high his ceiling is. There's a crazy amount of hype on Paddy at the moment. I'm a huge fan of him. Everyone in the MMA community is going crazy for this guy. So let me know what you think below. How good do you think Paddy is? Can he become a UFC champion? And if not, how far do you think he can go in the sport? Let me know by leaving a comment below. So Paddy is a guy that is very young. He's making big improvements from fight to fight. But what he showed me in his UFC debut against Luigi Vendramini last weekend is that he's a very mature fighter for his age. He might come across as this crazy, charismatic, outgoing, like nutty personality, but in actual fact, when you look at him as a fighter and what he's capable of, he is old and wise beyond his years. He's only 26 years old, but he's already had 20 pro fights. And even though the majority of those fights have been against a really low level of opponent, he has spent a lot of competitive time in the cage, you know, being put in bad positions, being put under pressure, getting hurt, getting tired. And because of all that time that he's spent in the cage, he's a lot more experienced than most 26-year-old fighters. And on top of that, Paddy is a former champion in a big European promotion. You know, Cage Warriors, one of the biggest MMA promotions in Europe. They had a big TV deal at one point with BT Sport, which is one of the biggest sports broadcasters in the UK. And Paddy was a big part of that deal. He brings eyeballs to the sport. People like him and they want to see him fight. So at a very young age, you know, just 23, 24 years old, Paddy was selling out arenas in his hometown. He had all the pressure of his city, you know, wanting to see him win, his family and friends turning up at these events to see him perform well. So Paddy, at just 26 years old, already knows what it's like to be involved in big fights. You know, a big Cage Warriors main event in a big arena, in a sold-out arena, is going to put a lot more pressure on Paddy's shoulders to perform than, you know, a prelim fight against someone in the UFC on a regular fight night card. So Paddy is already very well equipped to fight at a decent level in the UFC and deal with all the pressures and the octagon jitters that come with it. And I'm very impressed by Paddy's performance against Luigi Vendramini last weekend. He faced very real adversity earlier on. You know, we all watched the fight. We all saw how badly hurt he was. And Bisping even commented on this in the post-fight interview. Paddy came close to being knocked out. But you know what they say? It's not how hard you can get hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep coming forward. And Paddy showed the heart of a lion and the spirit of a true champion in his debut against Vendramini, because even though he was in so much trouble in that first round, he stayed calm, he stayed composed, he stayed relaxed. He weathered that early storm. He dealt extremely well with the pressure that Vendramini put on him, even after he was hurt very bad and Vendramini was kind of pressuring him and going for the kill. He stayed calm, composed, weathered the early storm, waited for Vendramini to kind of burn himself out a little bit, and as soon as he swung momentum in his favour and started to feel Vendramini was fading and losing confidence, he immediately cranked it up to 100, went in for the kill, and took Vendramini out. And it showed a real high level of fight IQ that didn't give Vendramini any chance to settle or any chance to recover after adrenaline dumping and trying to take Pimblett out. Pimblett swarmed him, got the job done, and I don't have enough good things to say about this guy. I am truly impressed. I don't know what the future holds for Paddy, but I do know that he has a lot of kind of critical success factors which are very important to becoming a champion and going very far in the sport. You know, GSP said that fighting is 90% mental, and he's right. You know, we saw it with Darren Till in the main event last week. You know, he suffers from performance anxiety and he just froze in a huge fight. He couldn't perform to his full potential. Paddy is the exact opposite of what we saw from Till. He's confident, he's aggressive, he doesn't get phased when things aren't going his way, and he seems to be able to rise to the occasion. He has a real high level of confidence. And, you know, we see a lot of guys that are confident in MMA, But as soon as they start to face a little bit of adversity or get put in a bad position, that confidence wanes. And to some extent, we saw it happen to Vendramini, right? Vendramini looked confident in the fight, started very strong. But as soon as Pimblett took his best shots and kind of weathered that storm, Vendramini faded mentally very, very quickly. Vendramini faded both physically and mentally. Pimblett showed us a lot. He showed us that he is fearless. Doesn't matter how much shit he has talked. Doesn't matter how much hype is behind him. Doesn't matter how much pressure is on his shoulders. Paddy's performance against Vendramini shows us that no matter whether he wins or loses, he is always going to show up. This guy is fearless, and he's always going to bring it and fight for your money. We also know, like I say, he's incredibly confident. He is tough as nails. You know, he showed that he can get hurt very, very bad in a fight and bounce back. And, you know, above all else, he's got time on his side. We spoke earlier on about how he's very experienced for a 26-year-old. But he's nowhere near his prime. Still very young in this sport. Still only 26 years old. You know, he's got a good 5, 6, 7 years before he hits his prime. And so much improving to be done within that time. You know, one thing that I really like about Paddy, and we spoke about this when we broke his fight down last week, is that every single time we see Paddy, he seems to improve exponentially. Now, there's not tons of recent footage available on him. You look at his last 3 fights, they've all ended in round 1. And there's not that much footage available on him, dating all the way back to 2018. You know, this fight ended in 4 minutes, this fight in 1.5 minutes, this fight in 3 minutes. So there's less than 10 minutes of footage available on Paddy from the last 3 years. So we don't really know where he's at in his career. But what we do know is every time we see this guy, he gets exponentially better. The guy that fought Luigi Vendramini last weekend looks absolutely nothing like the guy that lost to Soren back in 2018. And with him making such huge improvements from fight to fight, I'm so excited, because if he can improve that much between the ages of 23 and 26, how good is Paddy going to look when he's in his late 20s or early 30s? So I'm really, really excited to see how far this guy can go, because he's young, he's hungry, he's making huge improvements from fight to fight. He knows how to deal with the pressure of the big occasions, and he's just a natural born fighter who's tough as nails. So I'm very, very high on this guy. But when we're trying to work out how high a fighter's ceiling is, how far they can go in the sport, if they can become a UFC champion, what I always like to do is kind of compare where they're at in their career compared to where fighters in the same division of a similar age are at. And the best way to do this is by looking at the rankings. So Paddy Pimblett's obviously a lightweight, and here is the top 15 rankings in the lightweight division. And I think we can kind of separate the top 15 into 2 different categories. We've got the category of fighter, you know, in their early 30s, who are in their prime or maybe just past their prime, but they've established themselves as top lightweights. And, you know, over the next 2 to 3 to 4 years, they're probably either going to be retiring or starting to decline quite significantly. Fighters that I would put into this category are, you know, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler. You know, Tony Ferguson's already on his way out, but like Dan Hooker, Conor McGregor, you know, these guys that are in their early 30s, and, you know, when Paddy Pimblett is 29, 30 years old, these guys are going to be like 35, 36, 37 years old. So these guys, Poirier, Gaethje, Dariush, Chandler, they're at the top of the division at the moment, but we know this is a young man's game, Father Time's undefeated, and we're going to have a new crop of younger fighters come and take their place over the next 3 to 4 years. And that's the other category of fighter that we can see in the top 15. You know, younger guys in their mid to late 20s, like Arman Tazrukian, Rafael Fiziev, you know, Islam Makhachev, these kind of guys that are these young, hungry, upcoming bulls that you know, in 3-4 years' time, these are going to be the guys dominating the top 5. So when we look at how far Paddy can go, we've really got to compare him to other top fighters in the division around about the same age. And I think this is where it does get quite tricky for Paddy, because he is primarily a grappler that trains at a small gym in Liverpool. And there are a lot of very high-level grapplers around about that same age who are kind of already better grapplers than Paddy, and perhaps train at better gyms. You know, a guy like Arman Tazrukian, who's trained at Tiger Muay Thai for a very, very long time. You know, great gas tank, very high level grappler, can push a high pace for 15 minutes, can scramble like crazy, and is going to be a very difficult challenge for anyone to deal with on the ground. He's also pretty experienced with 18 pro fights, and he's a couple of years younger than Paddy at 24 years old, so he's got all those years of improving to do that we spoke about with Paddy. You've also got to look at a guy like Rafael Fiziev, also someone that has trained at a top MMA gym like Tiger Muay Thai for a very long time. He's a couple of years older than Paddy at 28 years old, but again, an absolute beast. Very high level striker, tough as nails, difficult to take down. Obviously he's primarily a striker, so we don't know what would happen if Paddy could get this guy to the ground, but guys that come from training at Tiger Muay Thai for a long time are usually very difficult to take down, very difficult to hold down. While we haven't seen a lot of Fiziev's takedown defense and ground game up until this point in his career, because he's only had 11 fights, I'd imagine with the amount of time that he spent training at Tiger Muay Thai, this guy is not going to be easy to get to the ground. So another tough up and coming kind of future rival, future title contender for Paddy to have to deal with. Then another guy whose stock is kind of up and down a lot because of some really bad losses that he's faced, but a fighter who I think is supremely talented in the lightweight division. He's not actually ranked in the top 15 at the moment, but I think Nasrat Haqparast has a huge future in the sport. He's the same age as Paddy Pimblett at 26 years old. He trains out of a very good team, and he's one of these guys that's, for such a young age, he's already very good at everything. His boxing is great. His gas tank is great. He's tough as nails. He's difficult to take down. He's decent on the ground. Nasrat Haqparast is the total package for me. And another very, 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 very good young lightweight that is likely to have a huge future in the sport. And someone else that Paddy's going to have to compete with for those top 5 rankings as his career progresses. And then the boogeyman in the division. How can we talk about future top contenders in the lightweight division without bringing up the name of Khabib's prodigy, Islam Makhachev? Also very experienced for a guy so young. He's 29 years old, so he is the oldest fighter out of all the guys we're going to be talking about in this video. But this guy still has, the next 3 or 4 years to really cement his place in that lightweight division. And he's probably, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, head and shoulders above everyone else that we've mentioned in this video. If you look at him, he is also the highest ranked guy out of all the guys we've spoken about this video. He's already ranked number 5, and he's not a million miles away from the title shot. So if we bring this full circle and get back to answering that question, can Paddy Pimblett become a UFC champion? The answer really is nobody knows, right? But let me know what you think in the comments below. What I would say about Paddy is he's a talented young fighter who is making big improvements from fight to fight, and he has a very solid skill set, very, very solid, set of experience to work from. But can he compete with guys like Tazrukian, Fiziev, Haqparast and Makhachev over the next 3 to 4 years to be top dog in that lightweight division? I'm not going to say it's impossible because there's not tons of footage available on Paddy over the last 3 years. Perhaps he's absolutely amazing and we just haven't seen it yet. But with some issues he has with his striking defense, with the fact that he's kind of slowed down and gassed out a little bit against Sorenbach and Nad Narimani, obviously guys like Tazrukian, Fiziev, Makhachev, at the moment, because we've seen more of them, we can kind of come to the conclusion that it is kind of unlikely Pimblett will be able to compete at that level with those names, over the next 3 to 4 years. But take absolutely nothing away from Paddy Pimblett. With how tough he is, how good he is, how experienced he is, how charismatic he is, this guy is going to have an amazing future in the sport. And for me, I would just love to see him rack up wins and establish himself as a popular top 15 fighter. If you're asking for my opinion, do I think Paddy Pimblett can become a UFC champion? I don't, purely because of the other names in the division around about the same age as him. But I do think he could become a Jorge Masvidal, Nate Diaz, Donald Cerrone type character who's extremely popular, has a whole city behind him, and very soon probably a whole country with how much the UK are going to love this guy. And if this guy can just establish himself as a top 15 guy, pick up wins here and there, put on entertaining fights, do his thing on social media, he's going to be a massive star. He's going to earn a lot of money. He's going to be able to take care of his friends, his family, live a great life, and he absolutely fucking deserves it, because he's just an absolute pleasure to watch, and I can't wait to see how his career develops. So good luck in the future, Paddy. And anyway, hit this video's like button if you like this type of video, you like this type of content, you'd like to see me do more of it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and above all else, do you think Paddy can become a UFC champion? Let me know by leaving a comment below. Thank you for watching. Take care. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, guys. Bye.